So for example number 2, we start with ice at negative 20 degrees Celsius and need to turn it to water at 80 degrees Celsius. So in order to do that, there's 3 steps. We have to take ice and raise it up to the freezing point, 0 degrees. We have to change that ice to water by melting it. And then we take that water at 0 degrees and raise it up to 80 degrees. So for our first Q, we're going to be looking at this portion of the graph, Q1. So this is the change between ice at negative 20 and ice at 0. So we're going to use our equation Q equals mc delta T. We know that the mass is 25 grams. Our C for ice is 2.09. And our delta T is the change in temperature. So it's going from negative 20 to 0. So we'd have to add 20, or we can do negative 0, the final, minus the initial, negative 20. So we get 20 degrees. So Q1 is equal to our mass, 25 grams, times 0.9 joules per gram degrees Celsius, times our change in temperature, 20 Celsius. So we multiply this together, we get 25 times 2.9. So we should get Q1 is equal to 1,045. Okay, so for Q2, this is the process of melting. So Q2, we're going to have to use the heat of fusion of water to describe this melting process. So Q2 is going to be equal to our mass times our HF. So Q2 is our mass, which is 25 grams, times our heat of fusion of water, which is 334 joules per gram. When we multiply these two together, we should get 8,350 joules for Q2. So we have Q1 and Q2. We have to find Q3 by using, this is water, and we're heating up water. So to find the number of joules needed to heat up water, we're going to use the specific heat. So we're going to use 4.18. So for Q3, there's going to be Q equals mc of water times delta T. So our mass is still 25 grams. Our C for water is going to be the difference between 0 and 80. So, C for water is 4.18. The change in temperature is 80 minus 0. So our delta T is 80 degrees Celsius minus 0 degrees Celsius. So it's just 80 degrees Celsius. So to solve, we do Q3 equals 25 grams times 4.18 joules per gram degrees Celsius times 80 degrees. So we'll multiply these together. So we should get Q3 is equal to 8,360 joules. So for our last part, we're going to do Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3 is equal to our Q total. So Q total is going to be Q1, 10,045, plus Q2, 8,350, plus Q3, which we found is 8,060 joules. So when we add these together, we should get 17,755 joules. And that's our total for Q. So for these ones, your main goal is to draw the graph to figure out what are your phases or what are the different changes going on. find each individual one and then add them together to find your final answer.